It's Sunday. It's Scripture Sunday. And my wife hasn't put the boys to bed yet. So I'm snuck away in the office. But we're going to do this. And it's going to be a great Scripture Sunday.
Yeah, it's Prezi. Perfect. Yeah. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions.
All right, everybody, it is Scripture Sunday here on My Wife Put the Boys to Bed. I thank you for checking out today's episode. We have a really awesome episode today because our guest scripture reader and analyzer is none other than John Anthony. John is a former deputy at the Kendall County Sheriff's Office that became a representative in the Illinois State House of Representatives from the 75th District. And he's a good friend of mine. He'll tell you in his little in his intro kind of how we met. But he now hosts a radio show on AM 560, The Answer, here in the Chicagoland area. And the show is called Black and Right with John Anthony. It's a good radio show, and so I'm excited. He picked a great verse and has some great thoughts. So without further ado, here's John Anthony.
Had my name is John Anthony. Brad Coombs, the head football coach over at Plainfield East, is a good friend of mine. I had the opportunity to meet Brad when he was the head football coach for Plano Reapers. Brad requested that I come and speak to his football players. I don't know if it was some dinner or just a rally meeting, but I attended the event, and it was like one of the highlights of my time as an Illinois State Representative at the time. And Plano was like really rebounding. He brought some prestige to the Plano football team. So time has gone past, and I'm really honored that Brad would even seek me out to give, as he called, a scripture. So he said, well, pick one of your favorite scriptures. And if anybody that knows me knows that 1 John 4:4 is probably one of my best and favorite scriptures in the Bible. But I want to read prior to 1 John 4:4 so that you get a gist of what was going on. I'll start. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard was coming and is now already in the world. And this is my favorite part of the scripture. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. Let me read that again. He who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. And I've used that scripture, greater, and I've used that term in a lot of different parts and areas of my life. That no matter what you go through, no matter what you experience, no matter what comes to you, always remembering that the God who is in you is greater than any force, that the God that is in you is greater than any mindset, that the God that is in you is so much greater than anything. He said he is greater than he who is in the world. So no matter what it is that's in this world, God is greater than. No matter what situation, no matter what circumstances you may be dealing with, God says, I'm greater than that. And one of the things that I've always been able to do, and I've just say, I've had to use this scripture for the last couple of years, like a lot, really a lot. And I would always find myself going through something, and I just close my eyes and I just imagine God being greater. I see God as this really big God, so much greater than anything that I can ever imagine. And I take comfort in knowing that no matter what, even throughout this this thing with the coronavirus, the COVID-19, God is still bigger and better and greater than this. And just because it's come into the world doesn't mean that God stopped being God, because he's greater. He's greater than anything that is in this world. Anything that you ever come into contact with, God says, I am greater. And knowing that he is greater just brings so much peace. And I like in Colossians 3:15, it's my second favorite. The peace of God, let the peace of God rule in your heart. So if I know that God is greater, the peace, no matter what circumstance I come up against, because I know he's greater, I have a peace that's so settled in my heart that I can overcome anything, no matter the obstacle, no matter what it is. There's a fight in me that says, God is greater, and the peace of God rules in my heart. Brad, thanks so much for allowing me to do this. I hope this was long enough. I didn't really know how long I should do it, but I just want to just think we just have to remember God is still on the throne. Nothing catches him by, off kilter. Nothing happens by happenstance. God is still God, and he's still on the throne. He's still ruling and reigning. And take comfort, take solace in knowing that he is greater than any and all. Peace. Thanks, Brad.
John, that was awesome. Thank you again for coming on and for sharing that with us. Whenever I heard you talk about that, first off, I think that as Christians, sometimes this is one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle is the fact that God is God. And he's not somebody else. And he's not lesser than anybody. And his ways are greater than ours. And, we forget that sometimes, okay? And there's also the aspect, not like people that have not grown up in the faith, people that, don't understand some of the things we're talking about because they haven't grown up in the faith. They're gonna ask the questions, why? Well, if God is all knowing, why does this happen? Why does that happen? Okay, and that's something I'm willing to talk about another time. There is a different mindset for a Christian as to the purpose of this life, and the fact that we are on this earth for a speck of sand, and eternity is more than every speck of sand in the entire world. So we're living a very minute portion of the life that God is giving us on this earth. And so the thing that your verse kind of brought to me is one of my favorite parts of the Bible, and it's in the book of Job, a great book in the Bible where Job, who is a faithful man, just everything that can go wrong goes wrong to test him and push his relationship with God to the limit if he's going to trust God or not. And I'm not going to read the whole section, but there is a spot in Job 38 where God responds, and I recommend if it interests you to check it out. So I'll start at 38:4. God says, "Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk? On who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut in the seas with doors when it burst out of the womb? When I made clouds its garment, and thick darkness its swaddling band, and prescribed limits for it, and set bars and doors, and said, Thus far shall you come, and no further. And here shall your proud waves be stayed? Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the skirts of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? It is changed like clay under the seal, and its features stand out like a garment. From the wicked their light is withheld, and their uplifted arms broken. Okay, and I'll stop there, but basically the gist of it is God's sitting there, listening to Job, supporting Job, being there with Job, and Job questioning and questioning and questioning and asking God if he's there and why are you doing this to me? And finally God says, wait a minute. Where were you when I created the earth? Where were you when I made all of these decisions that shape this world that you're in? You know, God knows what is to come. God has been here the entire time. God, we are in his hands, and he is going to provide for us. And with that being said, you know, that's one of my favorite verses in the Bible, because God is powerful, God is strong, and he is he's all we need. So thank you again for your message, John. And this week, looking at our show, we have a pretty good week ahead of us. On Testimony Tuesday, Daryl Jones, who was a wide receiver with me at Miami, a phenomenal kick returner, punt returner, great guy. He's now a pastor. He's going to give his testimony on Testimony Tuesday. Wednesday, Matt and I will be back to talk wrestling. Thursday, we're going to talk about something that could possibly be the ultimate game of the summer. All right, Wickets is the name of the game. And so I'm bringing on Casey Jackson, who's going to talk to us about that. And Football Friday is going to be awesome. We have J.R. Niklos from the Midwest Boom, who's going to tell us the story of Boom and kind of what their philosophies are. So, got a busy week ahead of us. I hope you enjoyed today's Scripture Sunday. I have the Carlisle story recorded. That was supposed to be released, and it'll be coming out soon. I just want to double check some things that I said and check some facts. So, with that being said, God bless you guys. Have a great week, and just stay positive and keep doing what you do. Peace.
Yeah, it's Prezi. Perfect. Yeah. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions. Won so many times, I don't even know what a loss is. 119th Street, y'all know who the